Hello, Joe, and this guy, that guy nation. How you doing? It's another episode.
Yes, Anthony, it is. This guy, that guy nation. It's time for that. It's been a minute since we've been all together.
It has been. We've been on vacations and days off and
Days off,
stuff,
yeah.
and so I think we about 2.5 weeks out now.
Yes, it has been a minute since we've gotten together to get together with this guy, that guy, talk a little bit of baseball, and talk about what's been going on in our lives. So I say we just hit up this last tournament that we should.
It'll be good. Let's talk about Sunday. I'm just going to skip right to Sunday. I think I'm a very nice person, and I'd rather talk about the good things in life.
Yeah. Saturday was a wash.
Yes.
A team that the team I didn't recognize showed up on Saturday, and I think there was some lecturing Saturday night by the baseball gods, and things turned around on Sunday.
Yeah, the kids drew a bad draw too. I mean, when you have to face the number one team and the number two team in pool play, it gets a little tough.
Yeah, it does.
It makes for a tough day, but it doesn't mean that they don't give a lack of effort. You go out there and you still fight, and you fight to the end. And I think that maybe they learned that about it. It takes a little bit of fight.
Well, they definitely came out on Sunday and showed a completely different side of themselves, the Falcon side that we all know.
They showed it's almost a heckle and jive theory. I mean, they came out and it was two different players. I mean, two different people, all in all aspects, just the whole game.
Yeah.
Their mental state, their attacking, and their defense, every aspect of it.
Well, I think that they were literally attacking the ball. They had great pitching. They had great offense, defense. I mean, they just did really well. They just showed up, and they actually ended it well.
They did. Yeah, they ended up taking second place. Which was good for them. They played more baseball on Sunday than they did on Saturday.
Yep. They had a few games. They had 3 games.
They did.
So
it's also hot right now.
It was hot as balls.
It's hot as balls in Texas already.
Yeah.
They're over here. It's arrived.
And the venue was, to me, it was rather interesting because when you drive out to this little town, and it's maybe an hour away west of us, northwest, and you get to this town, and the scenic views are just incredible because you can really see a long ways, and you go past that, and you continue to drive, and you think there's literally nothing out here.
I made a wrong turn. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I missed my turn.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, on to the right, here down this farm road where John Deere tractors are pulling hay bales and things like that, which you just don't see that often in where we live. And here's a baseball field.
Yeah.
And a complex that you can actually see somebody's vision.
Yes. Yeah, they have a vision to be like a rocker bee.
Yeah.
It's like a field of dreams just popping out of somewhere, Very 2 wonderful fields to play on.
Yeah. They were very nice. The lighting, we didn't need the lighting, but obviously the lighting that they put in for night games is pretty incredible. I had the fortunate side to talk to one of the people that have the dream.
Gotcha.
Visited with him for a little bit, and he was explaining they have the 2 fields already, parking lot. Eventually there'll be a total of 6 fields there, and then they're going to have a high school field that will be out there with stands, and it will be turf, along with cabins that you can rent to stay in, as well as bar, restaurant, gift shop, concession stands, and such. That's his vision. What's there is completely different.
Gotta start somewhere.
Well, and I think talking to that guy on the way home, unfortunately, I don't see us playing on those fields when the vision is completed. But we did get to see the beginning of it, and boy, it was a scorcher out there. It was well above 100 degrees, and the wind was blowing, and there wasn't enough there wasn't enough ways to keep cool because there's no shade. You have to bring your shade.
You have to bring your shade.
Yep. And we had a successful shade too.
We
didn't
did.
lose anything.
No.
So,
You know, our canopy survived.
Yeah.
We got it when
Yeah.
windy, but
Yeah.
our canopy survived these days.
you know, we had a lot of people watching while we were out there, and I'd like to just start with Sunday's second or last game. That was the last game, and we had a young guy behind the plate.
We did. Totally different from the guy we had that played on Saturday and stuff, and this was a younger guy.
Yeah, and he just had this arrogant smirk on his face. It was
Yeah.
almost like a Angel Hernandez.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about Angel in the past, but it's almost like this young guy inspired to be like him.
Well, yeah, I don't have a lot of good things to say about him, only because I think of his lackluster effort behind home plate. And when it came down to, let's say, making calls, a topic came up, and we had another parent make a comment that, hey, you know what, you're not calling the ball foul. And he felt the need to come out of his so-called crouch, if he had a crouch behind home plate. He's almost standing fully upright. So I don't know how he can see the low pitches or at the knees. He turned around to engage with that parent about, I'm not obligated to yell foul or put my hands up. And that kind of unfortunately irritated me. And
Well, they put a burr under your saddle, sir.
So I said, you do have an obligation. As a matter of fact, that is your obligation to yell foul. You don't yell fair. You yell foul, and you put your hands up. If the ball is fair, you point to the field and don't say anything. And
He didn't care for that.
he didn't care for that. So he walked over to the manager. As he walked over to the manager, I thought I'd walk to him so I could educate him again about the ruling. So I did that, and then the coach asked me to be quiet and that he was going to throw us both out. That's fine. So I just felt the need to, when I got home, to pull up the rule and make sure with everybody that the rule says that he's obligated to put his hands up, yell foul on any ball that is foul.
And I understand that they are in a somewhat difficult situation. Being the umpire, by all means, I have a great deal of respect for anyone who wants to do that. I did that for high school basketball, but you got to have tough skin.
You do.
I'm sorry.
You do.
It's gone too far the other way. These clowns get.
They're being paid.
Yeah.
I want everybody to understand that on the podcast here. These are not volunteers.
No.
This is not Little League ball or anything. They're paid handsomely to go out there and an umpire a baseball game for an hour and 45 minutes.
And to become butthurt over reaction from not only parents but players and managers and coaches. And I understand it's a long day and it's hot, but you're getting paid to be out there.
Yeah.
And they're switching. There's not one guy calling all balls and strikes all day long. They switch it up
Correct.
so that it can become a little bit fair. But when you have someone that just gets in the middle of the game and he's on a power trip and his smirk and he's obviously got friends in the stands and it was showboating and look at me and
Yeah. That was a very, I don't mean to cut you off, but that was a very unprofessional thing to do as an umpire.
Yeah.
I had never seen an umpire high five a player after getting the third out in a baseball game. Matter of fact, that is exactly what you can't do. You are supposed to be an impartial person in that thing, and you should, unfortunately, don't have any, let's say, friends.
Yeah.
You're just calling a game and let the chips lay where they may.
Yeah, and to add to that, it as it went on, as the day went on and the game went on, his bias became more prevalent.
Yes.
He was happy when he could call a foul ball.
But he didn't. He wouldn't say it was foul.
Well, even the one where it just trickled down the line.
Oh,
it was
sitting on the chalk.
Sitting on the chalk, and it's foul to him, but it was only to benefit the other team. That's the only thing that it did. It wasn't going to change the outcome of the game, but what it did change, it changed the direction of the motivation of the team that was out on the field.
That's
and
correct.
That could have been. It didn't matter what team it was.
That's correct. And
that's the stuff that aggravates me to watch the game.
Yes, and let's make it clear. At no time were we going to win that game?
No.
Because we were being beat. They didn't need his help.
No.
Him helping him made it worse.
Yeah.
We were losing that game, and we understood that. Yeah. And we're okay. We're willing to take our beating when it's time to take our beating when we're being just outdueled.
Yeah.
I mean, the score was 10-0. I don't know, something like that. Yeah. So we were not going to win that game. Good. Yeah. And kudos to that team.
Yeah.
And we're now taking nothing from that. But when you have an umpire that just does not either understand the rules of the game or doesn't know how to call a game, especially in a championship game, you're going to have issues. And if you're an umpire and you have a bunch of controversial calls that you're making in a game, you're going to hear some chirping.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to learn to turn a deaf ear to the chirping and call your game.
And be secure enough to say, you know what, I made the call, and that's the call that stands. But to sit there and say, I don't have to say anything.
Yes.
He was asking for more.
Yes.
And then when he's calling balls and strikes, he make absolutely no noise but wiggle his head up and down.
Yes.
So a young player.
Or a motion with his hand to say it was high. He would go like this or go like this, but not say anything. Yeah. Just the motion.
Yeah. And you have players that are trying to figure out, was that a strike? Was that a ball? Am I still in the box? I have no idea what's going on. And I think his communication was poor. His execution was poor. So I give him a big fat 0
absolutely.
Out there.
But I'll tell you, since we did that, and we did that little bashing session because it was well deserved.
Yeah.
I will compliment. I thought the umpire we had the day before, and I think on game 1 of Sunday was the same umpire the day before in that game 1 Sunday. He does a fabulous job, and he does his job, and he got almost hand claps, I think, from people.
Well, and he was interacting with fans. You know.
Keeping it light.
Yeah, he recognized that it's 14U baseball.
It is.
There's no scouts. You've said it time and time again. There's no scouts out there, and I think there was more foul balls hit in this game, in these games at this tournament than I've seen in a long time.
Right.
There were balls falling from the sky, like hail.
That's right.
There were these kids. From all sides of the fields. If you didn't have a canopy, or you were going to get hit.
Yes. Yes.
You were going to get hit. There's a lot of yelling.
Maybe they redesigned those first 2 fields later to have better
coverage or something.
Coverage,
because I got to tell you, for instance, there was an elderly woman.
Yes.
So I'm going to go off on this because this became a subject of conversation while we were leaving. After being beaten and being out in the hot sun, and it's ironic how that works. Everybody sets up their canopy, and then at the end of that game, everybody drags their canopies out of the way so that the next group can put up the same kind of canopy.
Yeah, I know everybody was saying that, but we do that so we can have a canopy while we watch we're playing for the next game.
Yeah.
Now, if we're going home, we're taking our canopy with us. But you're right.
But there was a lot of movement for parents to try to find shade. So as we're packing up to leave, I'm a witness to one of these foul balls.
Okay, I don't know if you were a witness.
I witnessed it the whole
I do
thing.
not think you saw the ball fall from
I
the
did.
sky. I think you heard the oh!
No,
That's
no,
what
sir.
you heard, and you looked.
No, sir.
You were not. I was with you.
You stand corrected because you had your back to it. I was facing you and watching them.
The other team.
The old
And
lady,
the poor lady
the
got
old
hit.
lady standing right there.
He got hit in the back.
She got hit in the back of the neck.
It's right here.
went down.
It's below the
She
neck.
went down like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, she just dropped. She said, "Oh!" and fell to the
There was
ground.
not even
And you ran over there.
I did not leap
like
over
you
there.
were freaking a medical surgeon, and like you were going to do something.
Listen, I saw the woman go limp,
Yes.
face plant,
Yes.
and not one person made a move.
Well, her family was right there looking at her.
No, there was no family.
There was no family.
No.
So we just had a rogue old lady watching 14-year baseball in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah,
Oh,
basically.
okay. All right. Okay.
So the woman's laying there in the dirt.
Sure.
So I went over to assist.
Yes.
That's all I did.
Yeah, I know. I even saw someone bring a bag of ice over, right?
Some ice, yeah.
Listen.
And once she got the ice back and she got up off the ground, I felt better. Put her in a chair that didn't belong to her because the lady said, "Oh, that's my chair." And
Oh,
I
geez.
said, "Well, is it okay if she sits down?" She just got plugged.
She just...
You know,
she hit with a
I
baseball.
don't know what her mental status was
Right.
prior to the incident, but she seemed confused.
Well, she was definitely confused because I think if I'm correct in the story, she was telling everybody she got hit in the head.
No,
And
she's
it was in
telling
her
her
back
that
and
she
neck.
got hit in the back.
Yeah, okay, that she got hit in the back. She got hit right here.
But the big old welt that was on the back of her neck
Yes.
was closer to her head than her back. And I
Oh,
said,
was it?
well, you know what? She's got ice. It looks like... And the one lady ran over and said that she was a physical therapist. And I said, it sounds to me like you guys got her under control. And then I felt comfortable leaving.
That's all we got. So a physical therapist shows up and all's well. Don't worry about it.
Well, I got to tell you, it was more than what showed up when the incident happened.
I got you.
Okay?
Once again,
So then...
not your team. Not your,
Oh,
just,
no! It was just
the
a
other
random
team's
person.
just a random person.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know, so I'm impartial.
Good job.
I'm impartial. But I learned something about myself.
Yeah. We need more of you.
No! I learned something about myself.
Oh, what'd you learn?
I learned I'm not going to do that again.
No. Yeah.
No, I'm out.
Yes.
I'm out.
Yeah.
So, because the comments that were made after that all day, as the balls are dropping like hailstones.
Yes.
Oh, we better go check on that stone that just got Go check on the stone. Go check on that. Oh, do you think it was some grass that got hurt?
Yes.
Run out there, Joe.
Yes.
Take care of the grass.
Yes.
And I'm like, who's this jackass I'm sitting with?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And then he names you Mr. Helper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So I learned one thing.
Don't do that.
If you get up and just get plugged,
Right.
I'm going to say, God damn, that's just too bad.
That's right.
Good luck with
Please.
that.
Please.
Good luck.
Let me lay there. Please let me
But
leave
and the poor old woman,
Yes.
the little old grandma,
Yeah.
she's got dirt all over her face because she's sweaty. You know? And all this humanity is just walking by with their wagons. I gotta get my wagon. I gotta get my canopy out to my car.
Well, I told you it's because if you're raised in a low income neighborhood in your families, right? You don't want to be around the scene of a crime. Next thing you know, the cops come, they're checking for warrants and warrants, and you go to jail because some lady got hit with a baseball.
Yeah. So you're telling me is that you have a warrant for your?
I don't know.
You have no idea, do you?
That is a good statement because they say most people don't know they have any warrants
right.
when they get arrested for a warrant.
You're right.
Now the criminals do, but the true innocent people don't know that.
Yeah.
And because I heard that from a police officer, and I'm sure we'll have one chime in on this podcast.
I hope that we do because that just leads to another story I have for you.
There you go.
This is something that happened to me a number of years ago.
Okay.
And a number of years ago.
Okay, not recently. Okay.
I would say probably maybe 20 years ago.
Oh, that's a lifetime, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's most people's lifetime. But I know. but I learned this a long time ago, and it was it's really an interesting event that happened. A friend of mine, she wanted to sell her car.
Gotcha.
This was in northern Michigan.
Gotcha.
And it was in, late December, early January, and there's a lot of snow.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was an older lady, and she said, "Hey, can you come over? I'm trying to sell my car by owner. Can you come over and sweep it off and shovel the walkway? Because these young people are going to come over and they want to buy this car."
Gotcha.
It was an old Buick. I remember that. And I said, "Sure." I show up about an hour early, and I clean it all off, and I go to start it. Well, it wouldn't start. Okay, well, I'm not going to do anything right now. The guy's coming to look at it. He's going to buy it on sight unseen, and he said that he's a mechanic, so we'll let him look at it.
Yeah.
And I got out of the cold, and I'm standing in their house waiting for this guy to show up. This guy shows up, and he comes over. He knocks on the door. He says, "Come on in." And he says, "Yeah, can I see the car?" I said, "Right out here." So he goes out. We head out in the cold again. He says, I said, "Well, it won't start." I says, "Either we need to jump it, it's too cold, I'm not really sure, but here's the car." He's looking at it. He says, "Well, I'm a mechanic." I said, "Okay, good.
Say
So
congratulations.
you should be able to take care of whatever's going on here." He says, "Well, I learned how to work on cars down in Virginia."
What does that mean?
Well, that's where he learned how to work on it.
But what does that do with the price of tea in
I
China?
know,
Does
I'm
that-
just telling you the story. This is what he told me.
Does the guy know how in Virginia to work on cars better than the guy in freaking Idaho? I'm just curious.
Well, I didn't know.
You should have asked that question.
Well, wait till this gets going. So
Well,
he starts telling
You should have
me.
asked that question, though.
Well, I said, "Okay, so you should be able to fix it." So he says, "Well, did you know I learned how to pull engines out? We used to take, and we made these log, like a log holder, and then we'd take a chain fall." And he says, "We'd drag the engine right out of the car."
Yeah.
I said, "We cut the logs out in the wilderness down there in Virginia." And I said, "Oh." I said, "Well, yeah, you don't have to do that here today."
Right.
He's
And
like,
you call it a chain fall. I call it a come along.
"That too."
Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You high talkers call it.
Is that what the?
Yeah, us people from the country.
Well, I think that's the true name.
That could be.
As
But us-
Will Low
us
Talkers
simple- yeah.
call it a derogatory term.
Yeah.
It's a come along.
Yeah, well, us simple folks call it the other.
Okay, gotcha.
So he's telling me this story about him being like 12 years old doing this, and I said, "Oh, that's
In
fast."
Virginia,
In Virginia,
12 years old,
Yeah.
pulling engines.
pulling engines,
Okay.
out, working on cars.
Gotcha.
So he's telling me his whole life story. Meanwhile, it won't start. I said, "All right, so what do you want to do?" He says, "Well, I want to get it running." I said, "All right, so we need to."
When people in hell want ice water.
I said, "We need to get a battery."
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I got a battery." He had a battery. I said, "All right." So he goes over to this vehicle and he pulls this battery and he unhooks the other battery and he puts the new battery in, and I jump in there because he's messing around over there. He screams out at me.
You shock them.
He says, "Try it."
Oh.
He's yelling, "Try it." I turn it, it doesn't do anything. And he wiggles around in there, does something else. He's screaming at me, "Try it again." So I'm pumping on the gas. He says, "You're flooding it."
Well, it's a carburetor.
I says, "Okay, sorry." So he says, wait a minute. He goes and gets some gas. He puts it in, he's got it in a water bottle. He's going to pour it in the carburetor. He says, "Try it again." Well, that thing fired right up.
There you go.
The car's running now.
A Virginia mechanic figured
Yep,
it out.
He did. He figured it out. So he says, "I want it. I want to take it." He says, "I change oil." I said,
Did you ask for his resume? I mean, what's going on here?
he's telling me he changes oil. I said, "So where do you change oil at?" He says, "Well, at the State Street Lube."
Sir, you're buying a car. I don't want your resume. Okay, I don't care.
So meanwhile, it's snowing like hell, and it's cold. So the car's running there. He gets it all fixed up. But I learned that he lives in Virginia as a kid. He pulled engines, and he now lives in northern Michigan, and he works at the Jiffy Lube on State Street.
Yeah, so you know he can pull an engine.
Yeah, and he knows how to change oil.
Change oil.
Yeah, so I said, "This is great."
And he carries car batteries with him.
Yeah,
wherever
and he
he
had
goes.
a car battery with this car.
Gotcha. Okay, so
And I never asked him where he got that.
thank God.
So
I don't know where that would have gone.
So this gets really interesting here. So we go inside, and the lady that's selling him the car, she says, here's the title. You need to sign it over, and the money.
Yes.
And I think it was like $800. So, and I'm standing there.
$800 was a lot of money, probably back 20 years ago.
So he's buying this car. So I said, hey, let's take a picture of this occasion. And I took a picture, and all of a sudden, this guy flew out of the chair, flew down the steps, and bolted outside.
He was in the witness protection program. Yeah.
And I'm standing there, and this lady's name is Angie. I said, Angie, what the hell is going on? I mean, he ran out with no jacket on. His boots are off. He's outside.
Did you still have the money?
Yeah.
Good man.
I said, what's happening here? So I go out. He's standing outside. He says, you don't just sneak up on a guy and take their picture. I said, sir, I just said let's take a picture of this occasion that she's getting rid of this car. This was a big thing for her. He says, you just can't sneak up on a guy and take their picture. Not anybody from Virginia.
Here we go again.
I said, oh, all right. I says, what's going on here? Are you a felon? He says, well, yeah, I am.
There we go.
I said, so you're a convicted felon? He says, no. He says, they haven't caught up with me yet.
Gotta love
I
it.
said, sir, so then you haven't been convicted. He says, well, if I go to Virginia, I'm going to be convicted.
Because you have warrants and warrants.
Yeah,
that's where the story's going.
Yeah, so I said, I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
I do. I think you're going to
stay in Michigan.
Yeah. I said, I don't know anybody.
I don't care.
And it doesn't matter to me. Angie just wants to get the car out of here.
But you should have said, by the way, what'd you do?
Well,
what did you say?
I did.
Okay, good. Now you're making me happy.
I finished it with that.
Good.
You're getting ahead of the story. So
I'm just guessing too.
Yeah. So
I'm a good guesser.
So he comes back in, and he's telling Angie, he says, I had a rough life in Virginia.
Well, he pulled motors at 12.
I was pulling
motors at 12.
Yeah.
Changing oil.
And his mom worked at the Waffle House.
Oh, that's a good job.
Virginia. Yeah, she worked at the
Great
Waffle
place.
House. And you know how those characters are.
I love a Waffle
House.
House.
You go into Waffle House, you're going to get a show and a meal.
That's it.
Okay,
yeah.
But that's a whole other story. So, Mama works at the Waffle House. He never knew his dad. I said, this is like a country western song.
Yeah, here he is.
Yeah. Here he's down in Virginia. So, he got into trouble. I says, what were you doing? I said, what'd you do? What was the big crime? He says, well, I was stealing cars. And I was pulling engines out, taking parts off them. So I said, let me get this straight.
Oh my God!
So you trained.
You use your profession.
Yeah.
For the bad side.
Yeah.
The bad guys.
This is what you did. I said, so you at 12 learned how to strip cars down, and then later on in your life, I don't know how old you are now.
I don't care.
And I said, but you learned all that from somebody. Oh yeah, it's from my uncle. I said, oh okay.
Is uncle in prison?
So his uncle got arrested and turned him in.
What kind of uncle is that?
Well, it gets better. So as he's going to be arrested, his mom tells him they're coming to get him. Well, he fled to Michigan.
Smart man.
Yeah, so that, because he was stripping cars down there.
Okay.
So I said, so what changed your mind? Why didn't you just come over here and steal this one?
You asked that question?
Yeah, I did. I thought, well, why wouldn't I? Why are you paying for this one? He says, well, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf.
There you go.
I says, I just got this job at the Jiffy Lube. And he says, I need a car, and I saved up enough money, and I saw this for sale in the paper. And $800 is all I can afford for a car. I said, oh, that's good. That's good. So I said, so do you need help with driving that truck? He says, oh, no, that's my boss's truck. He said, just leave it here, and they'll come back for it in the morning. I said, so that's the Jiffy Lube truck, owner's truck. Yeah. I says, and he said, just to leave it here on the 7th Street.
I already know where this is going. I already know.
So let me ask you this. I says, where'd the battery come from? This is from the Jiffy Lube.
This is no longer a part of the story.
Yes.
Come on.
This is the truth. So I learned something. So he left. He took off in the car.
The car he bought, actually.
The car he bought.
Good.
And I go over.
He had to buy it with a fake name. There's no way he bought it with a real
He bought it. I don't know what his name was. I
Sure.
didn't check
It doesn't matter.
So I go to look in the truck, and the damn keys are in there. He left the keys in.
Of course.
Well, I said, I told Angie, I said, do we call the guy at the Jiffy Lube and let him know his truck's over here? She says, I think we've done enough for one day. She says, I think the guy needs a leg up.
Sure.
I said, so what do you recommend? Do we take it to the Jiffy Lube and park it there, or do we just leave it here and let him come?
Yeah.
You know,
That's a great idea. See, that, my friend, is a high-talking theory right there. Okay, no normal person thinks about, let me jump in the stolen car and deliver it back to the owners.
Yeah.
No, because on your way there, you're going to get pulled over, and you're going to be a thief.
Yeah. So Angie's like, I don't think you should get in there.
Yeah, Angie's smart. Actually, there's one smart person in that group right now, and it's Angie, the 100-year-old lady that can't doesn't know what snow is.
So she just says, let's just leave it where it's at.
Yeah.
I said, all
good
right,
woman.
sounds good. That sounds really good. So a couple days went by, I called Angie. I said, she says, the truck's still here. I said, oh. So Goober from Virginia, he obviously never said anything.
No.
He says, no. So
He quit his job when he borrowed the truck and to buy another car to flee to a different state.
Yeah.
Now, he's in Idaho now. He's in Idaho, Montana, with that piece of junk you guys sold him.
well, that was an interesting time in my life.
Oh, that's got to be the greatest 1 hour of your life.
Well, it was.
If it was more than an hour, you wasted time.
Oh no, I milked this one out.
Man, that had to be.
Yeah,
that's better than the hog story.
Oh yeah, Angie's.
I don't know why you've been holding back.
Well, no, I got a million of them, but Angie's just like, she's I did. She said, I'm glad you were here. I said, well, because you would have never known that he was a felon.
Well, you never do.
Well, you would have just sold the vehicle to him in a.
And I don't think is he a felon? Yeah, I don't think he's a felon.
He
yet.
was never convicted.
He's always not a felon yet.
He was never caught.
You gotta capture the guy first. You gotta have a jury of his peers convict him.
Well,
and then becomes a
so
felon.
according to him, he was already convicted because he's guilty.
He has succumbed to his crimes, rightly so.
Well, I hope wherever he landed, I hope he's doing well.
Montana, Idaho,
The Dakotas.
in the hill country.
He's someplace.
Doggone right he is.
So that's a little story of the background.
Okay, so
you didn't know about.
that's where the whole story went for the wants and warrants that I was trying to educate
exactly.
you on. See?
It clicked.
You see?
It clicked.
But when I told you that on Sunday, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh, you're just talking nonsense, Anthony," and really, you're like, he's really talking the truth. You don't want to be around and get wants and warrants checked. You should never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because you don't.
You don't.
You have no idea.
Yeah. We could be talking there, and our coach could have wants and warrants for all we know.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
I've seen him drink beer,
Oh my God, I know.
right? So sheesh,
I've seen it too. I've
Yeah.
seen you. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
you never know. No, people typically just don't introduce themselves. Hi, my name's Anthony. I have some wants and warrants, but I want to hang out with you. You want to have some beers tomorrow morning, some chicken wings? I mean, it's just not the common thing to do. Okay?
No, it's not.
I mean, so
I think
it's a secret.
interesting.
They're secrets.
It's interesting. I think that when you're looking at people and you're people watching, like which we do,
Sure, all the time.
I think that's something that I often think of. I wonder if there's any warrants out for him.
Really?
Yeah, well, because what happened to
that
me?
pops in your head. That
Sometimes.
doesn't, I wonder about people, but I don't. That never pops in my head. Just so you know, I don't even know how to say that.
So have you ever been around somebody that did what they did to me? So that's why I have that thing in my mind.
Well, I had a guy. It's similar to that.
There you
But
go. Everybody's got a guy.
Absolutely.
You
So
got a guy that buys your clothes. You got a guy that does this.
I played softball with a guy.
That. Now it's a softball guy.
I played softball with a guy on.
Was he from Virginia?
No, he was not.
Was he from West Virginia?
No, in fact, I don't even know where.
He was probably from Kentucky.
Once again, I don't go around interrogating my friends. I get their information voluntarily, so I don't interrogate.
Okay.
If they don't tell me where they're from, I don't know. I wouldn't know where you were from to you if you didn't tell me. You know what I mean?
Well, why don't you ask more questions? You got to ask questions.
I'm not nosy.
That's not being nosy.
Yes,
it is not. It's not being nosy.
When I volunteer my stories to you because I want you to know them. If you want to tell me your story, if you want to tell me you're a pyrotechnic person, that's great. Tell me. But I don't want you to admit all your sins to me. I'm not a priest, okay? I'm not going to help you with that, okay? But if you want to volunteer, I will gladly have a listening ear.
But when you sit down and you're visiting with people,
yeah,
it
should naturally flow. If it doesn't naturally flow, guess what? They have wants and warrants.
There you go. Okay. But do you go in to a conversation with a total stranger?
Yeah.
Because you're like me. I can be.
Okay.
I could just be walking around in a grocery store, and this person's right there. I can just pick up a conversation.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk.
We're at Keller Tavern.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a 7'6" freaking big white boy ordering a beer right next to me. Right.
He's a giant.
I kindly say, "How's it going, Stretch?" Right.
You did.
I did. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And nothing. What's going on, everybody? Looking down at me. You know what I mean? Guy's tall as a tree.
Yeah.
And I get our beers.
Yeah.
Take them back to our table, and Stretch follows us.
That's right.
Hey, can I sit down and join you guys?
Because you look like you're having a lot of fun.
Starts talking, and he starts telling his story about his girlfriend that he is now broken up from, and that he's got a brand new place. This is a bar he's trying to find.
Yep.
This is a dive bar, and then you kindly pick up about a bird.
Yeah, I did.
And
he said,
and that guy.
He said, "Does anybody have a bird guy?"
There you go. And
I said, "Yes."
Go ahead, take over.
I said, "Yes, I do. I have a bird guy." And everybody at that table thought, "Are you bananas?"
Are you a wackadoodle? Yes.
I have a bird guy.
You have a bird guy. Okay, go ahead.
And what kind of bird was that? He had found some bird that kept coming up on his
on his patio while he was barbecuing, and it was sitting next to him.
And he took a picture of it.
The bird was afraid of him.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of him. He's 7'6".
Yeah, and he took a picture of it, and he had it. So he sent me the picture.
He did.
And I said,
"He said, what's your number? I'm going to text you the picture of the bird, Brad." I'm like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, and I sent it to my bird guy.
Yes, and he did.
And my bird guy sent back the name of it.
Sure did. He's not making it up. And this is what's going on at the local bar, okay?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, for me, when I have conversations with strangers, I pick up the odd stuff.
Well,
and then
that's fine. It's okay, but you can't interrogate. You can't find out, you can't talk, "Hey, where you from, buddy?" You see, that guy didn't want you to know he was on his way to Montana.
No. How many times have we been together at events, baseball events, bars, all that? And have you ever known me not to ask people?
Oh, no. This is what you do. Yeah, it's okay. I'm just saying, I just don't think it's a normal practice, okay?
Well,
it's got to be, I guess it's maybe where you're raised in life. Let people volunteer their stuff.
Well, that's because you came from a criminal background.
No, I did not come from a criminal background. I was raised naive and dumb. Let's get that twist.
I'm an investigator.
But I grew up in a very bad neighborhood.
Well, I'm an investigator. I like to find out what's happening.
And
you know what? The interesting thing...
The sad thing is, here's the thing. So one day you're going to be investigating, right? And you're going to be interviewing some guy from the cartel, and you think you're a cop. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Nothing wrong with cops, but in that scenario, something would be wrong. If you're having beers and you're interviewing the cartel member, and you ask the question, "Where's your house? Where do you live? What's your phone number? What's going on?" he might. What's going on here? What
Might have an issue.
might have an issue with
Might
it.
have an
So
issue.
if you just let them volunteer what they want to give you, because you know what, probably half of them lie anyways.
Most likely.
Half of them start off with a lie. They start a friendship off with a lie. Make sure that maybe day 2, if it's still a friendship, I'll start skewing the story to the correct side.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I just go on.
Yeah, I know.
I just pick.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to find out.
Yeah, you just want to.
Yeah, I just go right to that.
Now I don't hide it. I had nothing to hide. So
No.
I know I don't have any wants or warrants.
No, I don't either.
So I don't have nothing to
Right.
hide. We'll talk. I'll tell you where I'm from. I'll tell you all the
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's good, right?
Yeah, but I go after strangers.
There you go.
Yeah, I go after them and find out what's going on. I mean,
I want to talk to him, but I'm not going to interrogate him.
well, I'll do that for you, and then we get interesting conversations.
Well, if you break the ice and he starts jumping in, I'll jump in.
Oh.
I'm sure if you open the door,
Yeah.
I'll have something to say.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, there's a lot of wackadoodles out there.
yeah, there is.
There is a lot of wackadoodles.
Absolutely.
So, you went on a trip.
Yes, I went on vacation.
You went on a vacation. And you said something to me on this vacation that you were on about pineapple.
I did.
And that interests me. That you can't get pineapple anywhere. You can't get that pineapple anywhere else.
So the story goes like this: Dole pineapple in Hawaii keeps Dole pineapples in Hawaii. The pineapples you and I buy at the local store, and I did this on Saturday. I went to Costco. Those pineapples are from Costa Rica because he opened up multiple. He needed the pineapple industry became so huge that there's not enough land in Hawaii.
No, there's
first of all.
not. You can't make them.
But so he needed it anyways. But since he has so much elsewhere, they keep all the pineapples in Hawaii on Hawaii. It actually, I had to go when it was told to me that I wanted to call bullshit, so I GTS'd the statement, and it came up that between 10 and 13% do leave Hawaii, but that's
a small percentage.
That's a small percentage.
And where does it go?
It doesn't say. It just says the 10 or 13% will leave Hawaii, and I have to wonder. That number could be 10 or 13% on the years that they have more than they need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Let's just ship them out. Let's get rid of them.
Or the crap that they just grind up and put
Sure.
in a can.
Right.
All the stuff that's
So,
doing well.
But yeah, that's what made me think that. But yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, that was. I was surprised about that, and you said that it tastes different.
It does. It tastes totally different. It is bananas.
Yeah.
How it's so much better.
Wow. Huh. Interesting. I was taken back by that.
I was too. It was a very.
So, do you have any other people watching stories there, or do you just go watching people?
Oh, people watching. So, on vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Give me one example of people watching.
Of people watching.
Yeah. Did anything stand out, like a three-legged dog with a cat and some mice, or?
No, the only thing that stood out was with the people watching would be that caricature picture artist. Amazing, amazing to watch them draw, and I even asked them. I said, "How do you not get into a rut when drawing pictures of people?" And
so these, just to let people know, these are cartoon characters like you would be at a carnival or at
correct.
a festival.
Correct.
There would be somebody there saying, "Hey, have a seat, give me some money, and I'll draw a outrageous character of you."
Correct. But these are on steroids. I
Yeah.
mean, he has 60 million followers on YouTube. And they do not depict you in a good light. And they have a big disclaimer form on the side letting you know, don't get butthurt. This is the joke. This is what's going on.
You are the joke.
Yeah. We're gonna do this, and it's how I view you and stuff.
And it's not always in the best light.
It's never in the best light. Oh. There is no good light. It's always bad light, but very comical. If you are willing to laugh at yourself or with yourself, it's a great time to go sit there and do it. And I think everybody did. I did it with my wife, and I told my wife after we did it, because she didn't want to do it at first. I talked her into it. When I did it, I said, I want to do this, and I want to hang this, so I never take life too serious. I will look at that picture.
Yeah.
And never take life too serious.
Well, I've seen
because it's comical.
It is.
But in the comical part of it, you can still see my likeness in there, and you can see my wife's likeness in there. That's really good. So,
did it ever, when you were there, did it never go bad for anyone?
No.
Like, what the hell? They knew what they were getting.
Yeah, they know. They all know.
People know what they were getting. Because you said there's hundreds of people.
Oh, yeah. The line's bananas. Yeah. And then the shit show that watches you get drawn is there. I mean, people just stop there and they crowd the sidewalk and they're watching you draw. Some of them are giving you a thumbs up, like, and you're like, is that thumbs that's good? Or is that thumbs like, wow, you look like shit? So, but
I got it.
Very good.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know that we're at our time right now. Yeah. I'm being shown a clock here. We're at our 45 minutes.
All right. Well,
we might have to do a couple more of these, try to catch up.
Yeah,
because we have still so much to talk about.
Yeah, I have more stories that we can definitely share. And I say we pull the trigger, call it a night. And if you like it, subscribe to it. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're a felon out there or a non-convicted felon and you have a story, let us know.
Yeah. Tell us you're a felon, but hey, do you.
I like it.
All
have
right.
a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.